And we're back to the Auburn segment of Tide and Tigers. I'm your analyst Chance Guess, and let's get this segment started. Auburn beat Richmond in basketball 98-54. That's wonderful. Auburn is just making a run this season for a national title. We're gonna win that. We're Final Four, everything, March Madness. It's gonna be wonderful. Let's go, War Eagle. All right, we actually have Ohio State this week in basketball at the Hoops Giving at Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be fun. I think Auburn's going to pull out and win that one, and shouldn't be any issue. Unfortunately, Auburn has no bowl game, obviously, for football, so pretty lackluster thing to talk about this week. But next season, we've got a lot of players that are entering the transfer portal from other schools. Some that I think would be a great fit at Auburn. One of the quarterbacks that we could use maybe as a backup. He could possibly find his way as a starter. But Colin Farrell, I want to say that's his name correctly. Not Colin Farrell. Colin Harrell, not the penguin, but Colin Harrell. He's actually from Thompson High School here in Alabama, Alabaster, Alabama. And he plays at UNC, and he just entered the transfer portal, I believe. I think he'd be a great fit at Auburn. He'd have that Alabama pride behind him, too, coming and trying to win that spot. I think he'd be a great fit. Let's try to see if we can get him. Georgia Tech wide receiver, Eric Singleton. We're losing KLS. I don't know how you replace him. We've got Cam Coleman, but how do you replace a KLS who was sometimes more explosive than Cam? I think Eric Singleton, he's a great wide receiver, leaving Georgia Tech. He needs to find a new home close by. I think Auburn's it. It's going to be a good season next season, I believe. We've got the coaching staff locked down now. We've got players that are maturing and growing. We don't have a Peyton Thorne to put blame on, even though he saved us in some situations, not many. But we are going to have to find a quarterback that we can put in a system to work around all the athletes we have. We don't have a Jarquez Hunter anymore, but Cobb will be able to handle a lot of the workload. It's going to be interesting seeing what we do next season. But this offseason is where it's going to matter. Can we get the right players in the transfer portal here in Auburn? We just got Deuce Knight as a recruit, but I don't know if we want to risk putting a star true freshman in. Not in the SEC. It doesn't work all that well all season. There'll be some highlights every game or so. But an entire season, you're bound to make mistakes. We don't want to wish that on anybody at Auburn. So, other news. Former Auburn head coach Brian Harsin is now inking the deal to be the OC, I believe, inking the deal. It's rumored highly. But inking the deal to be the OC at Cal Bears. And another breaking news. Belichick is inking the deal today and signing to be University of North Carolina Tar Heels football head coach. Can you imagine him recruiting these high school kids? The parents are going to love it, obviously. They grew up Belichick. But can you imagine him recruiting a high school kid and say, you're shit. You are not good. We might need you. We might not. We'll see. Prove yourself more. To a 5-star around that. This is how he talked to Brady. So imagine how he's going to talk to a kid who doesn't know anything. So it's going to be so funny and so interesting to see, but it might be the best thing for college football is to see him, just like Saban did. But Saban didn't stay as long in the pros, but he went to the pros and said, no, college is more my speed. Maybe Belichick's tired of the NFL mumbo-jumbo and all the players thinking they're the best things in sliced bread. Maybe he needs the leadership mentality that he can instill in these kids in college. I think it's going to be crazy seeing all the maybe documentaries and stuff about the training and all that, because he's going to go hardcore old school training in these facilities. I think North Carolina is about to be a force to be reckoned with in the ACC. I'm excited to see this, but I also am a fan of them, obviously, when it comes to ACC games. So it should be a good little mix-up into the NCAA world. Other than that, there's really just not much going on for Auburn today. Really looking forward to these bowl games for other teams and looking forward to these playoff bracket games. I'm gonna enjoy, I guess, the part of Bama not making it because that's the rivalry part. But do I think that Alabama deserve to be in there? I don't think any team that lost 3 games should be, unless the average of 8 of the other teams have lost 3 games. But when you talk about the strength of schedule, yes, Alabama's strength of schedule is way more difficult than I'd say Indiana's or Notre Dame's or SMU's or So, I mean, yes, their strength of schedule ended up being higher, but the teams that they lost to is what defines those losses, because those teams weren't top 25 teams every time. They beat some other ones, but the teams that you beat, yes, you beat a top 25 team, but those teams also started off very high. So it's hard for them to drop off and then lose to another team that is already in the top 25 and not see a huge effect. So I don't think Alabama deserved it this time. I do think they always get in by the skin of their teeth somehow with luck or with Sabanology, or I don't know, that they're like the Chiefs in that aspect, but actually Georgia's like the Chiefs this year. But Bama just always finds a way. So for everybody that's hating on them right now, that's why. It's mostly because of the fans who run it in everybody's faces and brag all the time about everything. Well, yeah, you get every opportunity. Other teams didn't. So we could always go back and say like the '04 Tigers and Auburn Tigers and Florida State last year. And like so many things can be said about why teams should or shouldn't be in. This is a new system. We're starting to see the ins and outs of it. And we're understanding that there are a lot of flaws. We're going to figure that part out, or not we, but that committee that you saw them watching the games, it looked like a judge's quarters in a courtroom, and they had no snacks, no appetizers, no hors d'oeuvres, or whatever you want to call it. They had nothing to appetize them while watching these games. And they had no alcohol or like waters, really. I mean, I think you could see a water there, but like you didn't see drinks. You didn't see. There's no socializing between them. Of course, they've got to pay attention to the game, but if you put more than just one screen in the room and let them have every angle where they can have a conversation and still see a play happen, make it actually realistic, because that was weird. I'm not gonna lie. It makes you think like these people don't need to be making the choices of all these college football teams because they don't understand the intensity and how wild college football is. Or maybe they do and they just are very controlled and able to not get excited about things. Who knows? But that was a very weird image, seeing that room just so bland. I couldn't do it. Yeah, I'd be like Pat McAfee in there having a good time. So many things we'd all be enjoying, drinking, having a good bunch of snacks like some Subways or Chick-fil-A's or something. Like, I mean, come on, food. You gotta enjoy it, not just sit in a lounge chair for all those games. What, 4 or 5 games that day? Goodness. But we've got a good schedule ahead of us with these brackets. We're gonna talk more about it next week, obviously, and a deeper dive of the playoff segment. We'll even have some of the games playing that day, I believe, on that Wednesday. So it will be fun, and we'll be able to give you some live reaction and stuff like that, maybe. Well, no, it'll be Wednesday night. So we'll get some quick picks going in that day or something. But it's going to be a fun playoff. Looking forward to this 12-team system, and looking forward to this offseason for Auburn. But currently, more importantly, Auburn basketball, War Eagle, Bruce Pearl is a legend. He is bringing Auburn everything we begged him to bring in his contracts. Like he's delivering in full. I say we're winning the national title this year for sure, but I think we're going to make a statement all season. If we have a few losses, of course, it's basketball, but I don't think it's going to be anything that we can't bounce back from. So, all Auburn fans, football's over. Basketball's just picking up. Start showing that support. Show up. Log in. Join the membership. TitanTigers.com, baby. We're the only one. All right. War Eagle. See you next time.